Welcome to the world of the night shift, where the shadows come alive and the darkness holds secrets untold. As the rest of the world sleeps, the night shift workers venture into the unknown, often encountering the inexplicable and terrifying. From abandoned asylums to desolate warehouses, each account is a true experience of those who dared to venture into the darkness and lived to tell the tale. In the heart of Kentucky, nestled amidst rolling hills and whispering trees, stood the haunting structure known as Waverly Hills Sanatorium. This tower was once a beacon of hope for those stricken with tuberculosis, but it's been long since transformed into a desolate and forbidden place. Its walls hid the weight of countless lives lost, their suffering etched into the very fabric of the building. Many people have claimed to see the ghosts of the patients who died in this hospital. Waverly Hills Sanatorium was built in the early 20th century, designed to accommodate the rising tide of tuberculosis patients that brought chaos to the nation. With its sprawling wings and imposing architecture, it stood as a symbol of hope against a merciless disease. Yet beneath its success of medical progress, a darker reality pulsed through its halls. Due to the lack of proper treatment, many patients were left to die. Among the many rooms that held the secrets of Waverly Hills, Room 502 stood out like a specter of dread, its history whispered in hushed tones, a mystery that chilled the air. It was said that a nurse, known only as Emily, met a tragic fate within the walls of this notorious room. Her story, clouded in uncertainty, became the stuff of legend among the staff and patients. Nurse Emily was known for her unwavering dedication to her patients. Her compassionate heart and gentle touch brought solace to those consumed by the grip of tuberculosis. But as rumors spread of her assignment to Room 502, an eerie stillness fell upon the hospital, for it was believed that the room held a creepy, inhuman existence. Her body was found hanging down from a light fixture on the ceiling. There seemed to be no evidence found pointing to foul play. This led to the conclusion that she took her own life. No one could recount the precise events that led to Emily's death. The details remained unknown, leaving room for fear to flourish. Some claimed she was driven to madness by the tormented spirits that roamed around her. Others whispered of an evil force that lurked within the room, preying on the innocent. Regardless of the truth, Room 502 became a place of dread. As time wore on, tales of strange occurrences and ghostly apparitions in the hospital began to circulate. The moans of the unseen echoed through the corridors. Some even claimed to have caught a glimpse of Nurse Emily haunting the room she once cared for. Waverly Hills Sanatorium could never clear its name. Due to its paranormal events, it was shut down, but later opened for investigators and tourists. To this day, whoever visits the hospital can't return without witnessing an unexplained paranormal happening. This is the story of Borley Rectory. In the picturesque country of England, there stood a foreboding structure known as Borley Rectory. With its darkened windows and crumbling facade, the building exuded an eerie presence that sent shivers down the spines of all who laid eyes upon it. The history of this haunted house was as tragic as it was mysterious. Borley Rectory was constructed in the late 19th century and served as the residence of the Reverend Henry Dawson Ellis Bull. Legend has it that the rectory was built upon the remains of a medieval monastery where a monk and nun were sentenced to death after falling in love. It is believed that the monk was hanged at the monastery and the nun was buried alive in the walls of the nearby nunnery, causing the area to be cursed. Strange occurrences were reported from the very beginning. The Reverend Bull and his family were plagued by inexplicable noises in the night, disembodied voices whispering in the corridors, and objects moving on their own accord. Frightened by these otherworldly happenings, the Bull family kept hoping that the paranormal occurrences would stop. The rumors started to spread since even the security guards witnessed strange events. The watchman tasked with guarding the rectory at night began to witness apparitions wandering the halls and phantom footsteps echoing through the rooms of Reverend Bull's residence. News of the haunting spread like wildfire, attracting the attention of paranormal investigators and curious spectators alike. The most renowned among them was the paranormal researcher Harry Price, who visited Borley Rectory in the 1920s. He documented his findings in interviews with witnesses, further solidifying the rectory's title of the most haunted house in England. In 1939, under a new owner, Captain William Hart Gregson, something strange and bizarre took place. Gregson was looking and sorting through some old books. While in the midst of sorting, a stack of books fell as though someone had pushed the well-stacked pile. Gregson watched as the books fell, hitting a paraffin lamp, causing oil and flames to spread uncontrollably. Gregson called the fire department, who was able to put out the flames, but only after destroying most of the house. During the aftermath of the fire, Gregson was asked about the identity of a cloaked man and woman seen leaving the burning house. Gregson assured them that he was the only one there that night. The incident took place in the Stanley Hotel. It stood tall and grand, overlooking the little town of Estes Park. It was surrounded by beautiful mountains, streams, and meadows, once home to several tribes. People said the hotel's story began with a man named Oscar Stanley. He was sick with tuberculosis and came to the valley hoping to get better. Impressed by the breathtaking landscape, Stanley and his wife Flora decided to build a big hotel in Estes Valley. When the hotel opened in 1909, people were amazed by its grandness. It was in the middle of the wild, but still had modern things like electricity, phones, and nice bathrooms. For a long time, the Stanley Hotel was seen as a fancy place for rich people from the East Coast to take a break and feel refreshed in the Mountain West. One night, something terrible happened. There was a big flood in the valley and the hotel lost power. Stanley put gas lanterns in the rooms so that the guests would have light. The hotel's maid, Elizabeth Wilson, was on duty that night. She walked around checking in on guests, making sure that everything was all right. While Elizabeth was making her rounds, she went into room 217 holding a lit candle as a light source. But there was a problem in room 217. There was an undetected gas leak silently filling the room. Unsuspectingly, Elizabeth entered the room. The accumulated gas in the room set off an explosion. Elizabeth was thrown from the room's entrance all the way to the dining hall on the first floor. Miraculously, Elizabeth survived, but 10% of the hotel was destroyed in the explosion. Elizabeth recovered and went back to work in 1913 and retired in 1950. She died of old age, but many believed that her soul wasn't at peace. Several guests and staff at the hotel believe her spirit still haunts room 217. One couple told the hotel staff that their bed was made while they were sleeping in it. Elizabeth wasn't the only presence felt around the hotel, as other strange events took place in different rooms. Guests that stayed in room 407 reported waking up feeling someone sitting on the edge of the bed. When they rushed to turn on the lights, Only an imprint was found, appearing as though someone had been sitting at the foot of the bed. In room 428, guests reported seeing a cowboy-like figure standing at the edge of the bed, watching them sleep. Others reported seeing the same figure standing in the corner of the room, lurking as they attempted to sleep.